Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It is Sunday morning. I'm out in the shop. It is freezing cold out here. We got some snow last night. I got a few things to do in the shop, and then I'll show you what I'm going to work on. First things first, I got to finish cleaning this trash up. Basically, last night I got a note from someone. I replaced the handle on my lathe, and they were like, why didn't you just take the old handle and epoxy it onto the bolt? And then even though you can't adjust the handle, you still might be able to use it, say, on the tool rest. And that's a great idea. So I dug through the trash last night and pulled this out, but it got too cold. I didn't want to deal with the rest of it. And I thought, why am I throwing this on the floor? It needs to be emptied. I'll just take it over to the garbage can, and I'll just dump it into the garbage can until I find the bolt. And then we'll tip the rest of it in there, and we'll epoxy that together and have us a spare backup handle. Other thing I need to do is get that heater going. It is so cold out here, and in about an hour it'll start being nice and comfy. So we're going to work on that. I caused quite a stir whenever I showed this last night on my Instagram and on my What You Doing Bob feed. People really seem to like it. It's just a cute little top. It was super simple to make. Didn't take much time. I'm going to probably shoot a video today. But a lot of people said, what does the bottom look like? And really, it's just a cone, right? This is a piece of maple. And I'll show you how I turned it. I'll make a quick video today and get that posted, and hopefully people will have some fun with these, because I think I have a bunch of bottle caps over here. Whoops. Oh yeah, see, we got bottle caps. This whole thing is full of bottle caps. And I had people saying that they thought it might make a cool game piece, right? Or your kids, you could put soda pop tops on there and do like battle, what they call that, battle tops or whatever, where they can spin them at each other and just kind of play with them. It's a cool little quick project you can have some fun with. And if you got kids or grandkids, or it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of fun and cool. I've got this pin where I filled a few more little air bubble holes. I need to get that over to the lathe and turn it down. I may work on that today. I don't know. This one has been a labor of love. It's just taken a lot of time because of, how difficult the blank was with all its little air bubbles. This one needs CA glue, and I still don't have it. Other than that, the other 3 pins are off the lathe. 2 of them have gone to the to that great pin graveyard in the sky. They just didn't make it. The pieces are still around here. I'll clean the red one. I'll clean the tubes off and reuse those, the red blank, and then on the black blank, that's just a standard Sierra style 27/64 tube. I don't really need the tube. All that got messed up on that one was the very top, where it had like that little ring around it. So I may look at using a piece of acrylic, or I don't know if I have acrylic, but maybe even Corian, maybe put a piece on there at some point in the future. See if I can fix that one up just for fun. So I put that one over there with some, I have a bunch of blanks that need repair. And one of these days I'll sit down and just goof off and do a bunch of repairs. I don't really have anything else planned today. That's pretty much it. Hopefully I can come up with something else fun, or maybe start another pin, or I don't know. But I'll take you guys along, keep you posted on everything I do. Let's get that heater going, because I'm freezing. Well, shoot. I just filled up the tank, and I didn't even quite get it to halfway, so I'm not even going to bother starting this today. Reason being is that's not enough fuel to burn all day, and if I burn the tank empty, it'll burn my wick up. So I should have checked that. I didn't. That's on me. I don't even want to start it, because it's just going to stink if it gets hot in here and then all of a sudden I lose heat. But so we're just going to suffer through it. I put the container over by my car so that next time I go out, I'll get some kerosene. It did snow last night. There is ice on the roads, a lot of accidents. Life flight's been flying constantly. We're right next to the hospital, and it's been in and out all morning long. So not a good day around here. So I'm not going to chance it today. We'll suffer through the cold. I've got some gloves over there that I'll try to wear when I can, and we'll just make do. Good news, everybody. I found the other piece. What I'll do is I'll just epoxy this in here, and we'll go ahead and put the screw back in to hold it together. And yeah, I've got a handle. It's obviously not mobile or movable, but I think it might come in handy at some point in the future. We made 3 more tops today. These things are super simple, super quick to make. They are a ton of fun to play with. They spin incredibly well. I'm super happy with how well they spin. I did shoot a video. I will edit that tonight. I'll get it posted. It'll go to my patrons first. They get early preview of all videos, and then 48 hours later, it'll hit the channel for everyone to enjoy. So stay tuned, and I hope you make a couple of these. If you do, send me some photos. Well, this is a little upsetting. I came over to my bandsaw, and I wanted to raise this up. The way you do that is you loosen this locking bolt, and then there's this knob that's on the back around here, and you twist the knob, and it raises this up and down so that you can make clearance to cut something large, because I want to cut this block of cedar. When I twisted this knob, I heard clunk. I opened the door and found that the gear was laying on the floor of this, and I cannot find the nut. So I'm wondering if it went back down here. I'm going to open the bottom up and look in there in a minute. If not, surely it's not stripped out, which is a plus. It just came loose. Surely I've got a nut that size. It may even be 1/4 20 or something along those lines. I don't know. Something simple, I hope. But I'm going to find another nut and see if I can get this put back together so that I can raise and lower that blade guard because I don't want to just leave it wide open. That's not good. It's dangerous, number one. And number two, it gives the blade too much flex when you're cutting something small. You want to be able to lower that. And then, of course, the bearings and everything, it kind of helps keep the blade from moving and twisting. So, yeah, I'm going to dig around well, you know what? Let's just do it now while we got the camera on. There we go. Anything in there? Nope, you're seeing it live. The nut is not in there, so I'm going to head over to the wall where I've got all of my nuts and bolts and see if I can't find something to fit that. Found a nut that was the right threads, and it was one of those nylon locking nuts, so I'm super happy about that. So I've got this working again. You can see that. It's raising up and down. I just need to put the bottom of it back together. I had to take this piece off so that I could drop it down a little farther to get the gear started. And then once I got the gear started, I realized that I couldn't get it back on there because there's a flat section, so there were no teeth. And it stops when it hits that. So basically I had to rethink the whole process, but looking good. I'm going to get the bottom put back on, and we should be in good shape. And then we'll go ahead and get that piece of cedar cut. I got it working. Worked great. I just cut this blank. You can see, made a real nice cut. Take a look at it. This is gorgeous cedar. This stuff is just absolutely beautiful. It's got so much red in it. And what I'm going to do, this was just a 12-inch piece that I had trued up. Gosh, I don't know how long ago. Been setting up in the loft. I'm going to try to turn a couple of boxes out of it. Pop boxes. Just for fun. So I may record one of them. I don't know yet. I'm still learning a lot. And on the podcast the other day, when I was explaining the process, Rebecca said that I was adding steps. You know, there's a quicker way to do it. I don't know what that is because she didn't really elaborate, but I may also not have been doing the best job of explaining how I did it. So I may have been confusing on my explanation, which may have made her think I added extra steps. So I need to take that up with her and touch base and find out, is there a quicker way to do it? But what I usually do is I just take a blank and I put a tenon on each end. I put it between centers, true it, and this is already somewhat trued, but I will true it again to make sure it's nice. And then I cut a section off to become the cap. I remove the body blank, put the cap in my chuck, and I turn it, hollow it out, put a rabbet on it, and then I put the body back in. I turn it. I start to cut a tenon. I sneak up on the tenon so that the rabbet fits it nice and tight, and then I finish it. I do finish the cap before I take it off the lathe. You want to do everything while you have it on the lathe. Don't remove it and put it back on. It's okay to remove the body. I leave it in the chuck, see? So I just take the chuck off and set it aside, and I use a second chuck for turning the cap, get it all turned, finished, ready to go, and then it's just a matter of fitting it on the box, on the tenon, to get a nice, sneak up on the tenon. Don't try to get in there and just cut it, because when you do that, you end up cutting too much. Don't ask me how I know. But I think I'm going to go over and turn one today. Don't know that I'm going to record this one, but we're just going to see if we, what kind of luck we have turning it, and we'll come back and maybe record the third one probably next weekend, because it's super cold out here. I would like to get in a little early tonight, be able to do a little video editing so that I can finish that up early, because I hate to edit video right up until it's time to go to bed, because, you know, then your mind is just racing, right? And it's hard to go to sleep and you don't sleep as well. So I'd like to get in early, edit the video on the bottle caps, any other video that I have, and, you know, we'll come back to this maybe next Saturday. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna get to turning. I'll keep you posted. I may shoot a few shots along the way. I just spent about 15 minutes on my chucks. I had pin jaws on this one, and I had these little tiny jaws on the Barracuda. And as I took them apart, I cleaned the jaws coming off. I cleaned inside the chuck. You know, I cleaned all around just to get full of dust. I even cleaned the screws as I put them back in, and I ran my bottle brush through the holes in the jaws on both sets, the set coming off and the set going on. So these are now clean and ready to go. What I'm going to do is we will put the piece of cedar between centers. I've got to get, where did I put that thing at? There it is. I've got my center here. Got my live center here. We'll go ahead and get that between centers. Make sure it's true. Cut 2 tenons on it. Now with the tenons, what I do is I close these all the way, and then I measure how large they are, and I try to make my tenon just slightly larger than when the jaws are closed. And that way I can, the best grip you can get is when these jaws are almost completely closed. So just make your tenon slightly larger, and this will be the body tenon. This will be for the cap tenon. So you'll see that in a minute. I'm all set up and ready to go. This blank should be pretty close to true because as a 12-inch blank, I had already kind of trued it. So I just, that end there is where the spur was, my old spur, using the new style spur. So I really just had to find the center of this end. And since that had a larger dimple, I just went ahead and used it for the live center. But I'm just going to go ahead now and just, you can see it's a little larger on this end. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to go ahead now and just run the skew over it, make sure it is true. Then we're going to part our cap off. And the cap will probably be about that big. So, you know, maybe a quarter of the blank. So I'll keep you guys posted. You can see I've got a tenon on the body. I've got a tenon on the cap. And I just parted the cap off. I'm going to loosen this up. One-handed, this is going to fall, but that's okay. There we go. All right, now set this over here. This will go into the Technitool chuck. I forget what that was. Darn it, what's that thing called? Supernova. Technitool Supernova chuck. This will go into the Barracuda, and that's the first thing we're going to do is get this chuck on the lathe and get this blank chucked up, and we'll begin hollowing it out and cutting the rabbet in the cap blank. I'm a little nervous about that now that I see that. There's a nice big knot there. Yeah, I hope that doesn't cause problem. I hope that knot doesn't blow out on me. So this ought to be interesting. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm set up and ready to start turning my cap. I've got the blank mounted in the chuck. I've got a 1-inch Forstner bit in the Jacobs chuck. The last thing I need to do is just measure how deep I want to drill into the blank. This is just to make a starter hole. Probably going to come into about here. I'll put a piece of blue tape on this so that way I know when to stop. And then once we get the hole drilled, we'll be ready to start the hollowing process. Well, darn it. It was going so well. I had it turned down. You can see this was sanded down to 400. It was ready for me to put a finish on. I just started cutting my tenon, and when I did, it blew apart. And I think what happened is, and I caught this knot, I believe, and it just was too tough and ripped it right off of the chuck. I'm disappointed, but I knew that that knot was going to present a challenge. Had I noticed it earlier, I would have flipped it around and made sure that was part of the body and not part of the cap, but it was right on the lip, and I feel pretty confident that that's what got me. Luckily, it was not an issue because I was standing down here at the end of the lathe, turning into the turning, so everything that shot out went that way. So there's probably even another piece or two back there somewhere because it blew. Hey, but you live and learn. Like I said, now I know on the next one, I'll pay super close attention. If there are any knots, I'll make sure they are in a non-viable place or a non-important place. But up to that point, it turned great. I mean, I hollowed it out, went great. I sanded it. Everything went great. and I was super excited because it was looking so good, and darn tenon just bit me. But hey, it is what it is, you know. Couple other things too. The cedar I have is very dry, so that could have played into it, but I really kind of think I caught that knot. And you know, and of course I had it turned down pretty thin. I mean, you can take a look and see. This was the inside of the bowl, and you can see that this would have been the thickness, so maybe 1/4 of an inch. And then of course there's a tenon behind there which would have gotten cut off. So I had taken it down pretty thin. So being dry, being thin, hitting a tough spot like a knot probably cost me the cap. It's not a total loss. I mean, I could always chuck it back up and just make a smaller box. I was hoping for a little larger one, but I still have another blank there. However, I think I'm going to steer clear of this for a little bit today, work on something else for a while, and then decide what I want to do with these blanks. If you take a look at this blank, you can see that I've got another one that I turned a while back that is about the same size, so it wouldn't be much different than that. And that one is a 6-inch blank. That's what I'll use, you know, for my next attempt. But look at that knot. I mean, I cut right through it. I didn't even see it. This one, I don't see any knots in this one, so I think this one will be a different story. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I'm planning to turn a lot more of these boxes. I really enjoy them, and I've got a couple of ideas for them that I want to try once I kind of get the hang of turning them. But you got to turn them. You got to become better at turning them. Learn the tricks like this. You know, this is the education. So I'm excited. But let me take a little break. I'm going to see what else I can get into. I got a couple other things I want to goof off with. Don't know what else will come of it today, but yeah, I got some things I want to try. Well, my wife just changed my plans a little bit. She came out and told me that my son, he has an ensemble that he's practicing with for ISMA, and they're going to come over and use our garage because it's a big area, and they need the heater hooked up. So I'm going to go over there and get it hooked up. There's half a tank. They'll be here for an hour, maybe 2. So there's plenty of gas for that. And then later on, I'll go out and get some more. I said gas, kerosene. I don't run gas in there. I run 1K kerosene. But I'm going to get that fired up for the guys and warm the garage up. And I got to move the cars out too. So we're going to do that real quick, and I'll be back. I may not be able to record much because there are going to be 3 horns blowing over there. So it's going to be kind of loud out here for a while. But I'll keep you guys posted. All right, we are set up. Basically, I've got the heater growing, and I got the fan right above it, so as the heat rises, it sort of blows it out into the garage. Just kind of helps heat things. A couple of chairs there for the guys to pull out and set up. It's a 3-person ensemble, so they assemble them some way. I'll let them do that. And there's plenty of room on this side of the garage for them to practice. Hey guys, I'm working on a project now. I'm making these little 45-degree pockets, and what they're going to be for is I'm going to use them to hold my jaws for my chuck. I'll mount them to a board. I'll probably clean them up a little bit and then mount them to a board, and I should have a place to store all that stuff. Back in that back corner, I started that board, but I never finished it, and this is kind of part of that setup. I'm getting back to it, and I think it's going to work out really well. I've got one more round of glue ups to go after this one, so about another 20-25 minutes, I'll glue those up, and then I'm calling it a night in the shop. I'm working with this board here, trying to figure out a good way to lay everything out. I think I'm going to rotate these this way, and then I think what I'll do is cut these. Let me roll around the side here. I think what I'm going to do is come in and cut these off like at a 90. Okay, so that'll slide up a little tighter against that. That'll compress this a little bit, save a little room, and I'm hoping I can rotate these and they'll go down this board this way. I need 4 sets, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to cover the spare jaws that I have today. I haven't quite got this figured out yet. I was thinking if I came right here where this edge is and just cut straight down, you know, follow that particular angle right there straight down, these two would butt together, and this is about how they would set. Okay, it's about 12.5 inches in length. That's about as compact as I can get them in a row. I was looking for options to mount them you know, in a smaller space. So the good thing is I'm not going to do any more tonight. I'll go ahead and get the rest of these glued up when time permits, and then I can experiment with these. I can move them around in all different directions, and I've got a whole bunch of extra wood, so I could cut some more and make a few extra, you know, just to do some test cuts, or if I screw something up, it's not going to be a big deal. But somehow I want to put these in as compact a space as possible because I don't want to waste space on that board. But anyway, I'm really excited about how these are turning out. I think they're going to be a huge boon to the shop because, I'm always looking for, things like this. I'm always looking for what I did with one of them, Now, if I got a place to put them, just like my collets, I think that'll be incredible. See, like the collets, I always know where they're at. So I'm thinking right over here, if I could just drop them down this side and all of them are in there, or potentially, if it's long enough, maybe I could run them along the top there and just have jaws below those collets. Now, I do know that there will be too many jaws. It won't make it. One row is not enough for 4 sets of jaws. It'd be about 3.5 sets. So, that's not a huge deal, I guess, but we'll figure it out. Got the final glue up going. I had to grab one more of those 90-degree clamps because one of them, I evidently didn't squeeze it together close enough. There was a little bit of a gap, and when I took the clamp off, the two pieces were actually separate. So I went ahead and reclamped that one, but I'm calling it a night. I'm going to get in the house and warm up a little bit because it has been a cold, cold day. And the next time I come out, we'll work on that a little more and see if we can't figure out the best way to do that to save the most space. That's what I need. I want to get all 4 sets of those jaws in as small of an amount of space as I can. And I will keep you guys posted. Take care. Have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out.